of Barbuzaar. Walukaga The Blacksmith, a Ugandan folktale. A very long time ago, there was a king in Uganda who was very cruel to his people, and they feared him very much. Every day, he thought of new things to do which would distress and trouble them, until no man's life was saved and no one was happy. And all through the beautiful country of Uganda, although the sun shone every day and the birds sang, sorrow and misery were in every village. In this village, there lived a renowned blacksmith known to all as Walukaga.
Walukaga, you are surely the best of blacksmiths out there. I am so pleased with your work. I cannot wait to use this on the battlefront.
I'm glad you like it, great warrior. It is always my pleasure to forge for you the best weapons.
Walukaga had a shop in the center of the village square, and he made a lot of fascinating tools. He had a gigantic fire pit in the middle of his workshop, and so the people would gather from far and wide and watch him fire red-hot flames to make the most powerful axes, spears, swords, and the most beautiful ornaments. Mighty warriors bought their spears only from Walukaga. Men of valor brought their sons to study apprenticeship from Walukaga the Blacksmith. One day, the king sent for the great Walukaga. Feeling very honored, Walukaga came and bowed down before the king in great excitement.
Almighty King, here I am. Your servant said you had a task for me.
Thou great Walukaga, I hear you are the best blacksmith in the land. I want you to do a piece of work for me as you are such a clever man. I want you to forge a man at your forge. Not just an iron man, but a real one with flesh and blood. One that can walk and talk and do everything that a real man does.
Walukaga, shocked and dumbfounded, stood still. Then the king snapped his fingers, and the servants brought in a big sack full of scrap metals. They opened it and poured its contents right in front of Walukaga.
You have 3 days to make me a living, breathing man made of iron, full of emotions, who can laugh and smile, with blood running through his veins.
But my king...
Is that an objection, Walukaga?
Oh, no, mighty king. Surely I shall provide you with what you have requested.
Then the servants helped Walukaga put the scrap metals back into the sack, and he bowed himself to the ground, and then lifted the sack of scrap metals and put it on his shoulders, and sadly he walked out of the palace. The moment he left the palace, what about this event spread out like white fire?
How can I get myself out of this mess? Should I simply escape? But even if I try to escape, it will only be a matter of time before the king's soldiers pursue and catch me. But I have only 3 days. What can I do in just 3 days? My God, please help me.
The following morning, Walukaga decided to spend the day reflecting on himself. The second day, Walukaga decided he would go from village after village and bid farewell to his uncles, aunties, family relatives, and his faithful customers. So it happened that, as he was walking on the path, he saw the village madman who was humming to himself, looking very drunk.
Great Walukaga, why do you look so sad on such a beautiful day?
My friend, great trouble has fallen upon me. I am a deaf man.
What do you mean by you are a deaf man? You cannot talk about death so casually at such a young age.
My friend, if only you knew.
Why don't you tell an old friend what must be grieving you so badly?
So, together, they sat. Walukaga told him all that the king had said. Despite Walukaga's highly prestigious status, he had never looked down at the madman and had always been so kind to him.
Ha 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 ha! Great Walukaga! But this is too easy to resolve.
What do you mean?
Easy, Pitsy, my friend. I will help you. But remember, you must handle this with tact and diplomacy. Now listen carefully. Go back to the king's palace, and this is what you must tell him.
The next morning, Walukaga went back to the king and asked for an audience. When the king saw him, he asked,
Have you made the man yet at your forge?
Mighty king, I have thought about it, and I have come to ask your help because this is a very difficult task, and I cannot do it all alone. The greatest of all kings, I am in need of a special kind of charcoal. It is made of human hair, and I want 3 large sacks of it. If I can get those, then I will be able to forge the man you requested.
Then the king gave the order, and messengers went through all the country ordering the people to shave their heads and send their hair to Walukaga. But when it was burnt, there was not enough charcoal to fill in 1 sack. Then Walukaga went again to the king.
Greatest of all kings, before I can forge a man out of metals, I must have water. But ordinary water will not do. I must have tears of men and women, for it takes many tears to make one human life. I will need 3 water pots full, my great king.
Then the king sent messengers all through the country, ordering the men and women to keep their tears and send them to Walukaga the blacksmith. But though the land was full of sorrow and the people wept every day, there were only enough tears to fill 1 water pot. Then Walukaga went to the king and bowed very low and knelt before him and fell on his face and said,
You mighty king, the greatest king of all. You sent me a hard task to do, and I asked you to help me in an easy way. If a great king cannot do a small thing, how shall a poor blacksmith do the work of the Creator?
Walukaga is right. The thing I gave him to do was impossible. You can now go home, great Walukaga. I had heard of your exploits as a chief blacksmith, but no one told me of your great wisdom. Today, you have surely proven to me that you are worthy of your reputation. Go now, great blacksmith, and never stop smelting the irons as you were born to do.
Then the king gave him multiple presents, which he carried away with the help of the palace servants. On this day, the king changed his ways and became a better ruler for his people. And now, in Uganda, when a man is perplexed and does not know what to do in great difficulty, his friends say, "Find a madman and ask his advice," because this has become a proverb since the days of Walukaga the great blacksmith. The end.